I don't know if I can ask it directly before you take over. Sure. And my question is directed to Kasmul. Kasmul, during the height of the Gen Z demonstrations, you said you cannot be on the table to talk when the young people are lying in the morgue. Yesterday, you said 600 days ago, you left and joined a political party, and that you were focusing on police brutality and compensation. And you said, rightly put it, that 448 million has been set aside for compensation. When you listen to them today, most of them have not even been contacted in regards to this reparation program. No police officer has been convicted today. How does that make you feel? You know, as someone who was at the forefront, is there progress you feel in terms of addressing these issues and ensuring that people are being held accountable in terms of convictions?
Certainly, I would say that there definitely is some progress, in the sense that if you think about where the country was 2 years ago, this was an impossible conversation. It's a conversation that could not be had. And through a lot of strain and a lot of difficulty in the political party that I belong to, and for me, it's political violence or political intolerance is not something that I only faced in 2024. This is a deeply personal subject, because I was displaced in 2007. I am a landless Kenyan, a cultureless Kenyan, if I may, because I saw the brunt of what political intolerance can get to the point where we were displaced. And a lot of the people who are taking this matter trivially do not know what it feels like to see your kinsmen have their private parts chopped off with pangas and displaced through several counties. I moved from Nakuru to Eldama Ravine to Rongo to Magadi, to the point where you lose a personal identity. This stays in the mental fabric of a person. And what the government did then, there was a Rudi Nyumbani program that gave people about 10 to 20,000, despite the fact that people lost property, people lost lives, and whatnot. And by the time we were getting to the streets, a lot of the people who lost their lives did not lose their lives because they were criminals. And especially, it's rather heartbreaking, and credence to the statement that I made then, that lives were taken. These lives were not just suddenly lost. They were taken by state and some non-state actors who are acting out of nothing but sheer impunity. There is no amount of money that can be used to quantify a life. However, the process of compensation, one does two things. For far too long, we've been documenting these stories, and a lot of the actors in the peace building sector and restorative justice sectors, we have several reports. We have the Truth, Justice and Reconciliation, we have the Krikler report, we have the Waki Commission report. We've had reports. We're a country of reports. But no government has self-initiated this process before. Governments have compensated before, but this, despite the challenges that it has, despite all its ills, is the first government that has initiated the process. What I was speaking about yesterday in terms of compensation, and I outlined the figures that for fatalities, the amount was guaranteed at 3 million. For grievous harm, it was at 1 million. For moderate harm, it was at 500,000. And for sexual violence or aggravated assault, at 1 million. These amounts, to me, it's beyond the money. It's an acknowledgement. Because we cannot live in a country where, for example, Executive Number Order 1 stands. I totally disagree with that. But I remember when the president was receiving the report from the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, he said that never again will he issue orders to policemen or the members of the police service to harm innocent citizens. This compensation does not, if you follow it up in the 48-page report by Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, does not in any way prevent victims or families of victims to seek restorative justice. If anything, and it does not in any way seek to impair or impact the case. It does not mean that once you receive compensation, this stops. If anything, this is something that we should never again see in our country. Because one day it will be me. I might think that it's too far from me, but then the next time it will be me who will be on the wrong side. So it cannot just slide. On the comment that you raised, at the time I was talking about showing up at the dialogue table, we were being told to give dialogue a chance.
Before you address that, kindly
Right.
allow me to interject. You've said the report says the compensation cannot stop the parents or the affected families from seeking justice. You've heard from Baba Kennedy that they were told they should produce or give evidence. What kind of evidence is needed? How can they have any evidence? It is up to the justice system to ensure that justice is served.
And here I'm just speaking as an active citizen. We must be able to strike a clear difference between people with a mandate, the people who've been mandated to do the work, and active citizens. And here I'm just speaking as an active citizen. If you read the report, the evidence that is required is reason to believe. And what that simply is in terms of evidence is, if you present the evidence, it should be able to lead a rational person, a normal person, to conclude that the facts you're presenting is true. So medical reports, OB numbers and whatnot. And even if you have lost those documents, because 2 years is a long time, you might decide to move on in a different way. I have seen that as long as there is evidence, even on socials, that atrocities happened, that could be pursued. That is what I have seen in terms of evidence being pursued. I do not want to speak as an authority because I do not know what it feels like to see a child being harmed. I did not die from those protests. And it's not something that we should turn, for example, into a political discussion. I think this is an opportunity for us as a country to say that, is it possible as a first step to ensure this does not happen again? And it would break my heart greatly to see that. I would want to use this, for example, as Bonga points to advance a personal political agenda. What I see this as, it calls for a lot of sobriety. I don't think it is easy for parents who've lost their children, parents who've had their children maimed by state actors, to even sit in such a show and be told, for example, to be brief about those things, and sit here and look at us turn it into a political exercise.
So,
personally, let me just wind it.
I want to hand it over to.
I'll just wind up.
Let me just wind it. Allow me to address that kindly.
So that it's clear.
Allow me to address that. What you've raised. How then can those in positions of power be able to understand what these families are going through if we cannot give them a platform to talk about it? You've listened and you've heard from them. They're saying justice has been elusive. So if they sit back and just relax because there's compensation maybe, and they don't talk about it, they don't come out to seek that justice, how then can justice happen?
What I'm saying is that they should not be curtailed. This uchungu wa mwana cannot be summarized too briefly. I'm not saying that they should not speak. I'm just saying that if they are to speak, they have to be given the necessary audience. So those answers, for example...
Has the government given them audience? Because today you support the government. Have they been given audience by the government? You support the government today?
I do support the government of the day.
Have they been given audience?
I think that they have been given audience.
You think?
It is brief. And please, let's this is what I was saying. This is what I was saying. Let's not turn this into a political spectacle, because all the people that are sat behind me here, apart from the survivors and victims of police brutalities and these parents, a lot of these people have not suffered that bodily harm. A lot of us can still walk with our limbs.
Okay,
so if we turn this into that thing where we want to make it, you're a government apologist, you're not a government apologist, what we are supposed to be looking for is ways to ensure this does not happen again in our country. If we're going to turn it into that, you tell me if it's a political match, I could take that hat as well. But what we need to do is look at it with a human lens without turning this into an item of propaganda that we will
Pretty much, Kasmal. I was asking that question because you were on the streets and then you crossed over and supported government. But it was like, let me hand it over to Bentu and then...
Definitely, you can see there are a lot of hands here. They want to react to whatever Kasmal said. But before we get into that, maybe when we look 2 years down the memory lane, what can we pick from there? Or rather, let me rephrase the question. Do you think that the protest achieved its purpose, looking 2 years down the memory lane? And were the lives that were lost really worth that cost? Maybe I can start. The gentleman here.
Good evening once again. And I start by agreeing to the extent that as a country, we need not politicize this moment, because from the discussions we have had from the panelists in the yellow seats, there is tragedy in loss of life, and there is pain in those who have been injured. The government has set out 7 ways through which they compensate. But to a mama here who has lost her son, compensation in terms of money will not resuscitate her son who is dead. As we continue with this conversation, I want to put out this statement. Let this conversation be a dialogue. towards seeing how we advance and restrain police brutality and ensure accountability rather than politicizing it. Because I want to share with you that on June 24th, many of us may not agree, but to some certain extent, we have two people who contributed to a majority of harm, some of which we have, like our brother Mburu here. We have egocentric politicians here who want to spur up violence. And in the words of Giacomo, I'd rather say that we as the youth do not understand the gains that our country has gotten since they fought for democracy. And if we continue towards whatever the politicians want, we are going to lose this country and we are going to drive it to the docks. So number one, we have not achieved what we went to get at the streets. Why? Because we put ourselves to be guided by thoughts of politicians, not by whatever we thought that we stood for. That has derailed this thing to the extent that politicians drive a narrative and we buy to it. Be so as it may, let me finish by saying this. I believe the government should, out of the 448 over the 1,000 that they have identified, it is high time that the government makes an effort to move down and look at Mama Kennedy and very many other cases, including Mama Mburu, who says that she has used money to a tune of millions, given the time frame that they have been going to hospital. It is high time that we use this platform to spur up dialogue that will ensure that the government looks into this. And as I finish in my last statement, let us restrain from making this a political contest so that you are seen to be knowledgeable in what you don't know, to spur up views. If we do not do that in this show, we are going to lose the essence of hearing a painful story from the mama and the rest. Thank you.
All right, I think we can proceed to the lady in the front.
May I interject?
Sure.
I am not surprised to see Kasmuel here because he never misses on TV interviews as he talks about the people he auctioned. And therefore, I want to say that tomorrow, as we are going to celebrate the people of the lives of the people we lost, we are also going to remember the people who betrayed us as the Gen Zs. I want to say that the people who we started with them this movement are the same people who are dining with the leaders who are killing us. The people who we started with them this movement are the same people who are on payrolls with the leaders who are killing us. So therefore, I want to state very clearly, with their cheerleader being Kasmuel here, I want to state very clearly that we once had a vision on you. We thought that you are a leader. These people went to the street knowing that you are a leader, you are a leader, and you can lead us to the next step. And therefore, I want to say that it is so unfortunate that we had to put the lives of people. And now we can see that the same people are still dining with you guys. Thank you.
Maybe we can take the lady in the front. You can give us your views.
Hi, everyone. I've lacked words while Alan Ademba was saying that we don't politize this thing. Na leo yeye mchana alikuwa kwa pressure ya government as like saying that the protest is not the right way. Another thing, I'll just say this. For sure, Kasamuel, let me tell you something. Maybe we don't show people I was a victim. And as like, I was shot. But the braveness that I have and the God that I serve, I'll never beg. So despite saying that we don't feel the victims, I'll just say this. We have been in work with Kina Maxwell and Kina Adi for more than 6 months, going to Kenyatta, supporting them. Mpaka sile mnakata kuwatibu. We are bringing all the things that we do. So we have that pain. Usiseme ati uchungu wa mwana ijuai ni mzazi. We are parents. Like in me, I'll just tell you this. As like, we are not here to argue about the government or anything. I think so at the time babako ama mamako, in any funeral in your family, mnakuwaga na memorization, mnaendaga ukumbusho. Muna sahi mna feel pain, mtu akisema, wanaenda kwa barabara for that thing. And this is not about, we're talking about politics, zozote zile ziko kwa hii nchi. But I'll just say this. I think so, Nani Fidel was one of us last show. So, sahi vile amefeel anaeza rambwa kidogo. He feels like anything that we are saying is totally wrong here. And I'll stand still to say, our vision, our mission, one day, mi nasemaga, kama comes around. Unajua tunasema ati sijui you have all the powers. Kuna one of us alisema watajaza kikapu. Iyo, it doesn't make any sense in our life. We are here to say that we want to feel the pain. Mi say labda ningekuwa nilikufa, cause nilishutiwa na nikavunjika hii mkono. But the vocal and the braveness that I have, iliniweza nikatibiwa with few time na nikaheal. But sijaika nikaenda sijui kwa compensation. For sure waliandikiwa watafaa kupewa 3 million. And then upigiwe sahi simu, unaambiwa unapewa 500,000. Mamako ametumia more than that. Hawajali. Wametoa hii kitu to the Kenyan National Human Rights. Sio wamepeleka to the dockets of the president. Unapeleka pale ati story. Mtu anaweza kumwambia ati ndio hivi vitu zangu. Anaweza hata kushtua. Akikupatia hiyo pesa hata atumani mtu nje upigwe. So we are totally in pain for this country. Now, ukisema hakuna watu wanauliwa this moment, after 2024, tumepoteza 10,580 kids who are underage. Feel that pain. Maybe siku moja utakuwa mzazi, utaoa, usitamani mtoto wako. Cause kama comes around, ile government sahi labda hiko inakusupport, the next government inaweza kukosa kusupport. That's all I can say.
And maybe if we get into, maybe I wish to interject, what was the bigger picture of this movement? Because I know there was agitation for good governance, the reduction of cost of living. Do you think that the June 25th, 2024 really achieved this?
Before I get to that, let me refer so that I get it right. First of all, it's hypocritical to appear to distance this conversation from politics, while in the first place, we were shot by politicians under their own orders. This conversation is inherently political to the core. It cannot be separated. The events of June 25th stem from politics, the events that happened just after that. It is not fair to tell the young people to not politicize the killing of Gen Zs by orders issued by the politicians themselves, just because maybe you are eating from their own buffet. The protests were about governance, taxation, accountability, and public policy, and little has changed since then. So we have every right to politicize this conversation. It is easy to say do not politicize it when you are safe in government. But when young people die during protests about public policy, accountability, and politics is the cause, then we have every reason to politicize this conversation. And I have had some nuances and subtleties speaking to probably the fact that the president is proactive in pushing for the compensation of victims. I need to remind Kasmuel that Judas Iscariote is not exactly truistic in his probably attempts to appear to compensate the young people of Kenya. Uncle Willie was strong-armed into compensating victims this year just because he fears what we might do tomorrow. He is trying in every way to avoid another demonstration. We've seen how he sent his errand boy, John Mbadi, on a campaign for the finance bill this year, trying in every way to convince us that there isn't an increase in tax liability and there are no new taxes that we do not demonstrate this coming Thursday. But we need to remind this government that we are not showing up for a protest. We are showing up for a peaceful march to commemorate the youths we lost, and we must immortalize those that gave their lives for this country, because their sacrifice should not go in vain. And I also need to speak into the fact that we've not achieved most of the things we were fighting for. Most of our grievances are unanswered. We've not solved corruption in this country. We've not solved the misuse and abuse of power by the police in this country. We've not solved the problem of governance in this country because Ruto is still the president. And we have a lot to go. And I need to give a warning to the police tomorrow. We will unmask every police officer who attends our demonstrations in plain clothes. You guys should have your uniforms tomorrow. There is no way to differentiate between a police officer and a goon if both of you are in masks and in plain clothes. To Murkomen, the CS for Interior, you said the police exercise restraint in dealing with goons. We need to see that reciprocity in dealing with peaceful protesters. And to the goons themselves, you should remember that you're on your own. When you are apprehended and when we arrest you, these guys will not bail you out. And they will not pay for a legal representation in court. Na mshahara ni nusu. Mkumbuke inatoka asubuhi, jioni hiyo ingine balance kujangi. To our boda guys, please, let us hold hands like we did in 2025. Let us unite to deal with these goons. Kwa sababu nyinyi mnawajua. Msikubali watu waingie town, watatu kwa pikipiki. Msikubali watu waingie town wameshika marungu. Mtusaidie ku identify our goons na mtusaidie kuwakamata. Na nikimalizia, to the young people out there, your voices matter. And if you do not show up tomorrow, William Ruto wins. Because that is what he wants. To instill fear in you, and that in so doing, he attempts to loop this country into the narrative that we've moved on, we've forgotten the ills that were committed against us, and that we do not care about justice and accountability in this country. And as I wind up, if we do not show up tomorrow, we start losing the fight. And if you tell me that you will not show up tomorrow, then I have every reason to believe that you will not show up on the ballot in 2027. Because once we start retracing our steps and backstepping, there's no stopping. So if the politicians deploy goons to suppress voters in 2027, and you decide not to show up on the ballot and on the election day, we still get the same leaders in office, and we'll be here complaining and probably going for another protest, probably pushing to remove William Ruto in 2028, and that should never happen.
Well, thank you. There were some views from that side. You can pass over the mic.
Can I speak?
Sure.
Okay. Firstly, Caswell, I would be very disappointed in you trying to say that the president has helped in...
Just stand.
Oh, let me... Okay. It's a disappointment to say that the president has tried to help our victims, because you're giving him a pat on the back when it shows clearly how incompetent, reckless they are, that they shot protesters, then now they want to pay them, and you're just paying them 3 million. Someone like Mama Kennedy, all that money is still going back to her children who are sick. And when we look at the insurance guidelines, someone who dies out of an accident, because the government is saying this is an accident, they actually pay 10 million. So they have money for private jets, they have money to spend around for mobilization, but they do not have money for victims. It's the hypocrisy that Mama Mburu is talking about. And that is what we are saying. We need accountability. If all these victims have not been called, which victims are we talking about? Are we having proxies getting this money? We can't allow that hypocrisy. Not today, not in this age. And either way, this government lacks the goodwill of commemorating this protest. To be honest, if they had the goodwill, I expect CS Murkomen to be standing and saying, yes, I agree, I have noted there's a protest, there will be police officers from this point to this point, we expect you to be arriving here at 10, we expect you that at this point you'll be laying flowers, not unleashing goons on us. So we cannot live in this hypocrisy. Sorry, the government is doing nothing. It is just trying to hide themselves or trying to part the Gen Zs not to speak the truth. Will not be silenced. We must be heard.
Thank you. I think I'll just say something real quick. We've had Caswell say that the government is working, because apparently this conversation we're having right now was an impossible conversation 2 years ago. But I want to remind him that 2 years ago, Rex was alive. 2 years ago, Evans Kirato was alive. 2 years ago, Caroline Shiramba was alive. So is it safe to say that, Kasmuel, you're riding on the blood of those young people we lost? Because you can't tell us that apparently you're supporting the government because we are now having a conversation on compensation. 2 years ago, tulikuwa to converse kuhusu compensation, tuna compensate nani? Make it make sense. He's saying that this compensation is acknowledgement from the government. But again, as late as last year, November, the president was questioned and asked, do you regret giving the shoot them in the leg order? And he said point blank, I don't regret. As if Rex didn't die from a shot to the leg. Did the president just say kill them? Thank you so much for saying it's political. I wanted to say that one. Because every government propagandist ndio wanasema don't politicize this, don't politicize. But it's a political agenda for the president. The president will stand on a car at a sunroof and say, we will compensate those victims. Kwa nini namwambiagi rais aache kuipoliticize? No, let's not be wewe. Also, please, standard, KTN, tafadhali, mutulete Ruto laesi ya pili. Kwa sababu we've heard he has lied to victims. You didn't include that in his lies. You cannot lie to a mother who has lost their child. That's so bad. That is so wrong. And this compensation, I'll just repeat what Kadida said. If these victims that are here have not been called, is this another scandal? Are we supposed now to see the controller of budget or Nancy come and tell us 2 billion that was meant for compensation cannot be traced? Kwa hiyo yote na mingi na machache. Kesho mtoke na one term.
Okay, thank you. My name is Abukelisha once again, and I want to say sorry to the victims of the police brutality. And to the moderator, we need to get to the discussion. The discussion is not all about Kasmuel. It is about the police brutality and the compensation. So we are losing track. And I want to tell those people who are calling for Mandamano tomorrow or a peaceful commemoration. I understand that if you want to commemorate the life, why don't you go to the family, not to the streets? And I want also to tell these people in this podium here, I'm very sorry to hear Malala Jr. talking about Kasmuel and the government. All these deaths happened when his father was in the government. His father was the Secretary General of the ruling party. What has the dad told you about these deaths? We need to not to be hypocrites when we get the microphone here. We need also to talk about the truth, right? Because we are talking about the death, right? We are talking about the people who were injured, people who were killed.
In your opinion, what is the truth that we should talk about?
The truth is, we need to talk about the deaths. We need to talk about
that is what you're talking about?
No. I've heard what Malala Jr. has said. Okay,
you have the chance. Talk about it.
Yes.
Talk about the death.
Moderator, we need not
kindly,
to...
let's have some order.
Let these people keep quiet.
My question is, you've said we should move from discussing personalities, but you are discussing a personality. Kindly address the issue.
And you see, for us to talk, to deviate, we need also to set the record straight. Because if we don't answer those people who are riding on the other personalities, so we need to put them at par so that we move together, right?
The issue of death.
Now, what we are saying, there is no amount of money that can quantify the life that we lost. And that is the reason as to why we were saying we need police reforms. We need to deviate from police force, and we need to head to police service. Because when we have a police service, we will not have this death.
How does the transitioning from police force to police service change
That
things?
is the reason as to why we are talking about the reforms.
How does that change things? Because
there is a committee that has been formed. In fact, the Chief Justice, the retired Chief Justice, was the one chairing. It was to check.
My question is, just a moment. My question is, you've said when we move from National Police Force to National Police Service, things will change. How does the change in name?
And I'm saying this, moderator, we need not to change the name. We need to change the behavior of the police.
How do we change that?
Through reforms.
What reforms?
And these reforms come from us. There is what we call public participation that needs to start with us, and we need to know what is needed for these police officers. The opinions that the Kenyans are going to give can help us transform and reform the police service. Thank you.
Okay, kindly.
Let me interject.
Okay, briefly.
So my brother, I want to indulge with you But Leon Major Malala is different from Cleophas Wahungu Malala. I hold my own aspiration. I am a different person. And I will not forget to remind you that Kasmuel is just an eloquent goon in a nice suit.
Okay, kindly sit down. He'll respond to that. Kindly address your issues briefly.
Okay, thank you. Again, I'm appreciating the conversation that KTN has said to the country. It's very unfortunate that we have come here late at night for young visionary people of this country to speak rumors, to speak things that are not considering common mwananchi. The reason we were out in the streets was not because we are idle. It was not because we lack the businesses to operate. It's because the economy of the country is dying day by day. We can't afford to take our children to the hospital. We can't afford to even finance our educational bills. But what happened to people like us? We received live bullets, not because we are thugs. Look at these honorable parents and the youth that are here that have been affected. None of them is a thief. None of them is a terrorist. The energy that the police force and the Kenya Defense Force was supposed to use in the terrorists of this country is using on its own citizens. We as the youth of this country, we are marching tomorrow, not because it's about parties, not because it's about individuals, it's because it's about our future. Kenyans, Gen Zs shaped the future of the global young people because you are the one who started this agenda and we continued with it. So as I'm winding up, what I'm trying to say, we are not going to allow the government use Kenyan taxes to sort out the people who got affected. Let President Ruto use his own money. Okay. Let Kipchumba Murkomen allocate his own money to fund these people. We are being taxed our own money that we are fighting for. We have graduates who have started their own businesses. They are not even able to save those money or to even invest.
Pretty much.
So let me interject. Let's just
kindly. Let's just have some order. Kasmuel, I'll give you a chance to respond to that.
Just a minute.
Okay.
Just a minute before I come back to you, please. There's some things I want to address that have been spoken.
Kindly stand up.
All right. There's some few things I want to address that my fellow Gen Zs have tried to echo out. And to the people who are in bed with the oppressors, there's something I want to tell you. You can't stand here on a national TV and tell us that things are not political when we have parents, victims, here who are shot because of the same thing. We went to the streets on the June of 2024 for one cause. The young people just wanted to be heard by the same government. They wanted to raise the issues of unemployment, high taxation, and the increased cost of living, which we're still fighting to date. Secondly, accountability still remains. You can't shoot out people, go anywhere, everywhere, and start saying that we'll just give them compensation. What about the accountability? We need more of that. Be accountable for your actions. As the government, you should be accountable to all these people who are here. It's not even about basically it's not just about what you lost. Most Gen Zs also went through mental suppression because of all this. Should we also start crying for accountability for you to try compensate our mental health for what you did to us? It doesn't make sense. And then commemoration should not be a threat. Why do you feel threatened when you just want to march out for the souls that were lost, and then you start saying it shouldn't be political? Mbona mnatukataza kwenda streets? That's my question. Mnatukataza kwenda streets because you know what you're doing. Yes, and last but not least, people in bed with the government, wacha kusimama kukua woye, you know what you're doing. And tomorrow we are going to march for a true cause, and there's nothing you're going to do about it. You shooters will still remember the lives that were lost. Thank you.
Okay, let the gentleman, even as you speak, kindly, we talk about accountability. Okay. How do we achieve this accountability that we're talking about?
First, I want to say pole to the families. Kwa hapa usiku, and we are actually disappointing ourselves. I feel very disappointed to be part of this conversation because ni late sana, and these people are here na mmesikia stories zao. So first nataka tu kusema your first question was, have we made progress? Whatever you have witnessed here, the conversation you have witnessed, is the main reason why we have not made progress since 2024. We are here discussing about Caswell and people in bed with government, but so what next? That girl who spoke a few seconds ago, she's saying she's going to the street, she's going to be shot, but she's okay. We have a victim here who was shot. Let's think about ourselves. Let's think about Gachagua has taken 45 days to think about 2027. As the young people, we need to take 60 days and think about 2027.
How do we achieve this accountability that you're talking
We
about?
need to sit down and find a way, find a party, know how we are going to take this government home. Because we cannot replace this government by shouting and saying one term.
Let me ask, when you say, briefly, when you say we need a party to achieve this accountability, are you telling the parents here that
no, I'm
that
not
is the
telling.
solution? How do we get this
we are
justice
here.
kindly?
We are here discussing about this issue because of us, the young people.
How do we get address the issue of justice?
Let me answer you. Mm-hmm. We are the main cause of 2024. We are the ones who said reject finance bill. We need to go back and think how this conversation started.
Okay, kindly, sir.
Okay.
Oh, hello.
Okay.
I would like to just read something here from one of the parents. I lost a friend on 25th June. And I've been walking a journey with the mom of my friend, Mama Samgure. This is what she texted me. It still hurts a lot, but grace is sufficient always. And therapy has also helped. It hit very hard, especially because he had already begun the healing process. He had given his life again to God, made a relationship with family, and began praying for a life partner. Sam Gure was my friend for 8 years. He was shot by his government when he was only 26. And I want to apologize on behalf of every young person here who came, and also on behalf of Standard, and on behalf of the government, to these victims. Poleni sana manze, pole sana manze, pole sana. The government is telling us not to remember you. Ian Opango, Abdi J. Okelo, your government is telling us not to march to remember you tomorrow after killing you. Peter Mouluko, he was shot at 23 years. Garson Mutisia was only 33. Abdikadir was only 24. Samuel Mutisia, Shakil Obienge, Charles Owino, Denzel Omondi, Kefa Odiworo Uma was only 24.
And of course, all those
Wesley
gentlemen and ladies
please.
on the front page of the Standard tomorrow. And
Please,
of course,
please.
you remember them, but as we address that...
Please, just give me 1 minute.
Okay.
Just give me 1 minute. Just 1 minute, okay?
Okay.
Charles Gitonga, Brian Kimathi died at 21. Kennedy Onyango, and Baba Kennedy and Mama Kennedy, you lost your son at only 12 years old. Kevin Mwawasi was 36. Martin Njoroge. Brian Kasaine was 19, bro. Kelvin Kagoni was 25. Michael Kihuga was 28. Austin Onyesa was only 18. He just turned 18. Benson Mbidi was 29. Gredo Oyaro was 17. Emmanuel Tata, 20. Kenneth N. Mwangi, 20. Kevin Odhiambo Maina was 17. Dan Kakai was 17 when he was shot by his government. Wilson Sitati, 22. Rickson Chalo, 25 years old. David Chege, 39. Eric Shieni. Evans Kirato. Samuel Jaongure. Rex Kanyike. Brian Onyango. William Amulele. The reason we are here today is to talk about tomorrow.
And
but for us to talk about tomorrow, we have to look.
As you talk about tomorrow,
we have to look.
Allow me
back.
to ask you. As you talk about tomorrow, you've read the names down the front page of tomorrow's edition of the Standard. We've seen the political class, a section of them, talking about tomorrow's protest, and the tone and the language seems to be the same as 2 years ago.
Yeah.
How do we deal with that? How does that make you feel?
I'm disappointed. I'm even disappointed with this young man here coming to talk about reforms and police service and police force. You don't need to talk about police force and service when someone is being shot and killed. How many police have been convicted today? There's video evidence of people who've been shot, and the people who actually people who shot them. Up to today, Mama Kennedy is being asked for evidence when his son is on the grave. What evidence are you looking for?
Okay,
my brother.
Thank you.
As
Okay,
we
just a
speak
moment.
about
Just a moment.
accountability.
So before we say, Fidel, please, Fidel, please, Fidel, please.
Just a moment.
No, Fidel, please.
We need to have
please.
some order, Fidel.
Yeah, we're talking
interrupting.
about going on the streets tomorrow.
Okay.
To remember our friends.
Okay.
To remember Sam Ngure. So even before you come and tell us, let's move on to today, fast forward to 2 years later. Let's talk about where we are. We are still in pain.
Okay, fair
we are
enough.
still in pain. This man here cannot walk.
Fair enough.
This mom's son cannot walk. We are walking because of your son.
Thank you.
And I'm very sorry for your pain.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's let this gentleman.
So don't tell us
Just
that it's
be
not
brief.
political.
Kindly, be
It's
brief.
very personal.
Be brief.
Okay. First of all, let me start by saying a sincere apology to the families and victims who are here with us and those who are not here. When we talk about the Gen Z protest 2024, we cannot separate it from the Finance Bill 2024 because it was the core which sparked the protest after Kenyans felt that the cost of living was so high. So when we talk about reforms and accountability, what we expected was that we needed reforms in the judiciary in the sense that cases to be expedited, cases of victims such as victims of protests, corruption cases, the prosecution process, the investigation process, those were the things that were supposed to be looked at in terms of institutional reforms. Apart from judiciary, also police reforms.
Why have those reforms stagnated?
They have stagnated because of our local policies, and our government is actually sleeping on it. That's why it's not taking place.
And how do we drive that change to ensure it does not stagnate and we have these reforms?
That's why we have this conversation here, because this government is not taking anything seriously. And that's why the young people are saying that they are going back to the streets so that their voice may be heard.
Okay, fair enough. Let's have some order. I want the lady behind Charity Waweru, and then Madoka, and then we come to you, kindly, with some order, briefly.
Yes, thank you for
You
the
can stand.
opportunity. I want to first start by correcting my brother who was saying that the reason for the protests was because of the youth. The reason for the protest was because of lack of accountability. It is unfortunate that the government waited for the citizens to shout for them to now start reacting. In fact, the conversation was wanapiga tu kelele online.
Has that changed today?
Unfortunately, it hasn't. Why? The main problem is lack of accountability. When we go back to look at the issues, corruption is now the biggest issue. Why are people not having jobs because of corruption? Why are things not working? March 6th, we had a very disastrous rain in this country, specifically Nairobi. We had issues of drainage, etc. What was the cause? The cause was corruption. So it really pains me when those who are pro-government are making noise and say, oh, we will try and bring this, etc. Yet there is lack of accountability. Means right now when we leave this place from now henceforth, if you know somebody in these places of power, tell them, hold them to account. In fact, I dare say, let us have citizens' arrests. Why not?
Okay, Madoka, and then we come to you.
Thank you so much. I want to first of all to sympathize with the parent and the people who lost their lives in the the 2024 demonstration. And I want to remind some of our panelists here, it is not the first time in our history that you're having police brutality. We should thank the President William Ruto for taking this thing, because the four presidents in our Republic of Kenya have never come up with a compensation framework. This is the first.
Madoka, just a moment. This is the same president who gave a shoot order. Yes.
You know,
you're saying we should thank the president.
You know, sometimes you can make mistakes, but you can amend it. And I'm not thanking him for the order, because he's the first president in the history of Kenya, apart from the British government who compensated the Mau. Yes.
Madoka,
for example, we are having this conversation.
Let's have some order. Let's have some order, kindly. At the back, Mulamba, kindly.
We'll give you time.
Elisha, kindly, let's have some order. Nobody spoke when you were speaking.
Kibet cannot come here, Kibet cannot come here, make some mistake, and then you expect the president to be accountable for my Kibet mistake. Kibet should be taken to the court and should serve.
Let me ask. You've said.
Yes, I'm giving an example of Kibet as a police officer.
Madoka, yes. You said the president made a mistake. Has there been an admission that this was a mistake? Has there been one? Has there been one? Yes or no?
Yes
or no?
You know, the president has come out, and we'll be having,
Elisha, we need to have some order.
1 minute.
Charity.
As we are coming to sympathize with the people who lost their life in 2024, we need to remember the people like Baby Pendo who lost their life, the mother of Baby Pendo who lost their small kid. She was around 1 year old. The people who lost their lives in Rivayala. When you talk about accountability, even rate of unemployment didn't start with President William Ruto alone, because it started from other countries are having some of unemployment.
Madoka, I'm asking, my question is, you said a mistake was made, and I need to hear it from you. A mistake was made, and you're saying the president made a mistake by pronouncing that the shoot order. Has there been an admission that this was a mistake? Mama Kennedy says she needs an apology from the head of state, face to face. That has not happened.
At first, Mama Kennedy, I sympathize with you, but she has told us that already the president called her. And
she was told to wait 1 minute and then nothing happened.
Because when you look at the compensation framework, they are the first batch people who have been compensated. I think the second batch should be...
Let's have this gentleman, kindly. And then we'll come. Wow. Yeah, kindly speak.
To the panelists, I am very sorry for what Mama Ken anapitia na Baba Ken anapitia. Like when I was introducing myself first, I said I am the first respondent to the victims. I stand by my words to say what we've had. It is a worst experience, one of the worst experienced. Precious started saying this. We've walked this journey and we've seen how painful it is. We were on the street. I think calling people heroes here, I think we should be the heroes. Went and used our own money. Personally, I spent a lot on these people and see how they can. Look at Maxwell. He was somebody, he's an orphan, right? Look at the hand as we speak. It is something that it is so unfathomable when you come and start lecturing us and telling us about how government is doing their work. You're like, there's no difference between you and Gachagua and Ruto when they told us initially that the police are not going to kiss us kwa street. And now you're coming unakuja pa kutuambia that these people have been compensated. In fact, they are here. You are even insulting them again and telling us that the first branch that have been... Do you even know what is in the compensation, for your information? I am part of those people. I was called in the first meeting kuangalia the policies. And I mean, like we talk with these people on a daily basis. Kasa hizi Clarice amenipigie tu tumeongea na yeye. Tunaelewana? And we even talk with these people on a daily basis. It is so annoying. It is so annoying, man, to come and lecture people. Look at Maxwell, look at Mburu, and so many of them. I know in the handling over 40 of these people. There's an old man, 57 years and above, sleeping on the street. analala kwa carton. And you are telling us that these people, honestly, I come from a certain area. We really, from my community, we really embrace and we show some sympathy and empathy to people who have lost their loved ones.
Okay.
It is not okay. These people are talking here. I'm still 1 minute, please.
Okay, briefly.
So when we talk about this thing, we know we have walked this journey. These people are in a lot of pain. We are not supposed here to be sugarcoating things and telling us, and actually even the compensation itself, it should not even be like that, like, iyo ni pesa government imetoa, iyo ni pesa yako, pesa yetu.
As you finish, let me ask you, we're talking about all these issues, but we also need solutions. How do we ensure that they get justice? How do we ensure that this does not happen again? Because Lemburu wants to speak also.
If they don't want us to go to the street, then they should do away with the article that allows the protest. We start another constitution, because that one is articulated to Miambiwa. We should be doing that kwa street. Tunaelewana? It is, no, you can even walk out if you don't listen.
Elisha, kindly,
because
just a moment.
No,
Elisha,
can never be intimidated.
just a moment. Elisha, when you spoke, nobody interrupted you. You cannot be dismissing people.
I am more of a Luo than him. So I know.
Okay, fair enough.
I am more of a Luo than him.
Kindly wind up.
Tunaelewana?
Okay.
Yes. You cannot come and tell me that you are sympathizing with the government right now, and the same people, the amputees, are even Omolo or Tieno. I can give you the names. Tunaelewana?
Thank you.
So it is something that it is so close to our heart. You cannot come and start laughing and dancing kwa graveyard or wazazi wenye wako hapa.
Okay.
Shame on you.
Fair enough. I want us to follow this order. I want Lemburu to speak, and then we'll speak with one of the experts, and then Mulamba, and then I'll give Kasmal a right of reply, because you've really talked about him, so I should also give him a chance to respond. Kindly.
Thank you for this chance.
It's on. Yeah, just.
Thank you for this chance. And maybe for clarity, I just wish to tell the people siding with the government. Number one, I was a very, very active campaigner for Ruto abroad. And I also spent my money to make sure that this government took it. And I want to remind those who are siding with them that we did not fall in love with Ruto. We fell in love with the manifesto, because the manifesto was very clear on how this country was going to be run, and everybody, it was going to give equality, and we'd be very proud citizens of this country. And for clarity, for that gentleman who said that it is their tax money, I want to tell you that I've been a very active person for the last 12 years, sending back the remittances that the government is so proud to balance or to stabilize Kenyan's economy. And for the time I've been in this country, I'm also a very active taxpayer. So I don't know what you mean by saying that it is your money. Are you going to remove our taxes so that now you can budget on your own, so that you can demand that we cannot get? I'm an equal citizen like you. I pay taxes, and I have brought back a lot of money that the government has been bragging around. I want to also speak to Kasmuel. I don't want him to be the debater. I don't want to look like I'm against you. But the first time I met Kasmuel was in the Upper Hill House with the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, may his life rest in peace. And the first question I asked Kasmuel, even you, have you been bought? You remember me? And he said no. He said that they cannot be collecting bodies on the streets. I said, that is so sad for you to start something and then run away from it. The other thing, and this should be very clear even to the government, today I want to say here that they cannot break what they did not build. The resilience in us, the parents, is so strong now. And for you, for the government and their sympathizers, to think that we are mad women and men in the market, like we don't understand our rights, that is very wrong. I want to categorically say this. We are not mad. And we don't want people to think that we are being driven politically. I am a woman of sober mind. And I want you people to tell me, and the government to tell me, when a medical practitioner takes a whole week to analyze that file of my son and concludes and write a clear report that my son was maimed, that he will never have his life back. And then somebody without any medical background sits in an office and decides, no, I'm going to overturn this. This is just a grievous, it's just grievous. And then you say that we are being driven politically. Are we mad? Are you taking us for granted? Are you trying to tell us, our parents who took us to school, that they were crazy? Seriously? We are not politically motivated. It is the resilience that we have developed. And this government is not going to break what it has not built. It is us who have gone through that journey with these kids, looking for justice. Actually, I appeared in Katete's, is it Katete? Or there was an episode in Citizen, or the Francis, when the country had moved on already. We had to smuggling Odi Francis to Kenyatta to come and cover. Okay. Because the country had already moved on. So when you people think that you are trying to tell us like we are not normal, you have to look at us like we need a lot of sympathy. No, we are here to demand what belongs to us. Yeah. Okay. Our children have been maimed by the state. They are real citizens. They are not foreigners. They are first-class citizens in this country. And we are demanding proper investigation. When I spoke to the IO of my case, she came to the crime scene. I'm not going to mention her name here. But she came to the crime scene. She got the witnesses. She promised to give witness protection. 3 months later, when I called, she said that there's nothing she can do. Their work is to get and prepare the information. Wanapatia wakubwa wafanye vile watafanya. Okay. And to answer that question of accountability or police reforms, how do you expect that? Unless everybody must think right. Okay? Okay. Because you can't ask for police reforms when the commander-in-chief is the one giving orders. As much as I know, as a police officer, you answer to the call before you complain. How are you going to get reforms? It's impossible. Okay, let me engage you, Mr. Morara. You've heard what all the panelists have said. Leah's articulated a few issues. There seems to be no light at the end of the tunnel in terms of getting justice. This conversation, even in the political scene, has degenerated to the opposition has done this, the government has done this. Nobody's focusing on the real issue. She has highlighted about the issue of investigations. She called the officer and she was told there's nothing much she can do. How is it that these institutions are also being funded by taxpayers, but when time comes for the taxpayers to seek help from them, nothing is being done?
I feel like a wave of emotions tonight just sitting here because I'm sitting across generations. So before I respond to your question, Ian, allow me to say it is political. Everything is absolutely political. The first generation, the independence generation, was political because they were fighting against colonial domination. Mm-hmm. At that time, they were young people. Tom Mboya, when he was leading the Kenya Federation of Labour, was 23. Martin Shikuku, when he went to the Lancaster Conference of Constitutional, the Lancaster House Constitutional Conference, was only 28. Mwai Kibaki was 32. There were other strong women in that field. Wamboyi Otieno, we know Field Marshal Modoni. So that was the promise of that generation. And there's a reason why I'm bringing this up. I think each generation must define its call and rise to the occasion to actually realize that goal. For the independence generation, it was we want to be free. Mm-hmm. We cannot remain under the yoke of colonial domination. And that promise was actually attained in 1963. For those of us who are counting generations, For me, a generation is 30 years. So I came politically alive in the second generation. 30 years from 1963 is when? 1993, 92. There was another generational demand then. Yes, tumepata uhuru, but at this point in time, the kind of government we have is a single party dictatorship. You can't talk, you can't do anything. We want change. What was the politics there? Constitutional change, multi-party democracy. We want our political freedoms. You are the third generation. Rise to the occasion. Because 1993, add 30 years, we come to 2023, 2024. What is your generational promise? We have a Katiba. It's not being implemented now. I'm answering your question. We have a good constitution without the practice of constitutionalism.
Yeah.
And your generation is actually on the right path. What are you guys asking for? Accountability. Let's make that document work. Yeah. Let the politicians work. Let everybody do their work. So essentially, I am with this generation here, and maybe that's why you called me tonight. I sit between the first generation and this third generation here. And I see the baton being passed. The moment our leaders know that the citizens are the greatest resource they have, the moment they know that these are the people who employed them, the moment we start treating politics as part of our governing structure, then the more we'll move from that idea of our civic duty and responsibility ends at the ballot. It doesn't. A ton of vigilance, politics defines everything that we do, and you guys be as political as you can.
Thank you.
Okay, I want to go to Mulamba and then Kasmuel, but I want to hear if from the families of the victims, if anyone can respond to this. Mama Kennedy, maybe you've talked about your case and investigations going at a slow pace. Do you feel you will ever get justice?
Sidhani kama nitapata. Lakini sasa hapa ni kama kuna vijana walilipwa hapa. Ni kama kuna vijana wako upande wa serikali hapa. Ni kama kuna vijana hawajawahi poteza mtoto hata mwenye ako kwa tumbo. Mwenye amepotea tu na miezi 3 baada ya kwa tumbo ajui kama ni msichana ama kijana. Kama ingekuwa wange feel pain yenye nasikia. Umepoteza. Juu nimesikia mwingine amesema eti naenda kukompensatiwa 3 milioni. Na salinganisha na maisha ya mtoto wangu. Hata kama ingekuwa 10. Na tayari nimesema huyo ndiye alikuwa tumaini yangu. Nimebaki na wagonjwa. 3 days hapa nyuma nimetoka hospitali jana na wagonjwa wawili. Kijana mwenye nimebaki nayo ni 7 years. Msichana 19 years. Halafu Kennedy hayuko. Mtu anakuja kusema hapa naenda kulipwa 3 milioni. Na hiyo pesa ni pesa niliona ikisomewa kwa budget. Silikuwa kwa budget. Wakati rais alisema atakuja kuniita, angekuwa mtu wa ukweli. Amewahi enda makanisa ngapi akitoa 20 milioni na gari, 10 milioni na gari, ama ni mimi tu ndio naonanga news? Labda TV yangu inadanganya. Ameita wa Makorino uko State House wakidance. Sisi hatuwezi itwa. Ameita wa mama akienda kuambia mambo ya siasa. Sisi hatuwezi itwa. Angekuwa mtu wa sorry, angetuita atuambie sorry. Angekuwa mtu wa kutupea justice, angetoa hao maskari. Hiyo tu siku angewatoa. Na mimi hata nikiulizwa huyu askari kufungwa inasalipa maisha ya mtoto wangu ningesema pana. Lakini bora ametolewa, nimemuona na hata yeye atiseria.
Okay. Mama Kennedy, it is our hope that justice will be served, because it is heartbreaking even for me to sit here and imagining if it was my brother, how would my mother feel? And even before you respond kindly, I'll give you just in a moment. Kasmuel, you've heard Mama Kennedy, what she has said. You've heard what Leamburu has said. What do you have to say in regards to that? And then, how can we ensure justice is served?
It becomes rather difficult to address such a poignant conversation when the intellectual gap is as steep as it is currently in this room. I sat silently and listened, and I want everybody to listen. Just the same respect I accorded you while you were addressing me the same respect that I want you to accord to me, including you as the presenter. I have had, and before I even get to the parents, the reason why I was saying that let us not politicize this, I was saying let us not politicize it or use it as a tool for a 2027 campaign. When I left the streets to enjoin myself to a political party, I said that these are the gains that I'm going to look for. As little as they are, we are seeing some sort of acknowledgement and reprieve from the government. We are seeing that. I will tell you about all these activists. That young man, I just came to realize that in an ill-fitting suit with sneakers, he looks rather young because I know I wasn't with him in the streets. That ill-fitting suit was bought. He came here calling himself Rex Masai. When he said Malala, his father was the defender of this government when Rex Masai was shot. You shameless young man who's telling me I auctioned people. You will wait.
No.
Listen.
Okay.
I will let me finish.
Okay. It's like this. Kasmul, just a moment. Kasmul, I'll let you finish. Kasmul, I will let you finish. It is okay. I will let you finish. Let's have some order. I'll let you finish. Just a moment. I'll let you finish.
What you will not do is interrupt me, because when people were attacking my person,
I want you to do this.
No taste for words.
Kasmul.
So I will be responsible.
Kasmul.
And if at any point I am lying, I am willing to be taken to
Kasmul,
court.
this is what I'm saying. I'm giving you time to. I'm giving you time to respond. Just let's listen. I'm giving you time to respond, but at the same time, you also need to be respectful. And number two, you're not here to order me around. Kindly, you're not here to order me around. So kindly respond to the issues.
I will be as respectful.
Kindly respond to the issues.
Only after I'm done responding to this issues.
We do have the entire night.
That gentleman who has spent his time insulting me, you don't have the entire night, but when it's my time to be insulted, you have
I want you to address the issues.
Let me address the issues.
I want you to address the issues.
That suit was probably bought with government money. Probably. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Two, that gentleman at the back there, who aligns himself with UGM, was silent when ladies came forward in terms of sexual assault. They were quiet. This lady seated beside me, this tribal is seated beside me, who's telling us that the president is bad. You need to understand that she is on the payroll of us, an impeached deputy president, who said that the police are not on the streets to kill you. We will shoot you. I will finish. The lady behind me, when we were here, and if I'm lying, I want her to take me to court, was bragging of how she is willing to even sleep with James Orengo because he is a man.
Okay. No. Kasmuel. Okay, no. We need to have some order. Kasmuel, no. Just a moment. Just a moment.
No, it's not just a moment.
We need to have order. Just a moment. Just a moment.
Did you accept
kindly? If you can switch off those mics, kindly. Let's have some order. No. Just listen, Kasmuel. No. Just a moment. No. Okay, just a moment. You have to abide by the rules. No. Just a moment. Just a moment, Kasmuel. You're not here to lecture anybody. Just a moment. No. Just listen. Let's have some order. Elisha, kindly. Let's have some order. This is my point, Kasmuel, and you'll speak. This is my point. When you make allegations here, allegations of such magnitude, you also need to substantiate. Kindly do, because you're not being orderly. You are not being orderly.
What I'm saying is,
you must be orderly.
I've consistently been orderly. The people who are disorderly are the people who are insulting me. I was silent. So please, even you don't interrupt him, because my person was being.
I want you to address the issues.
Let me finish.
And I want you to address the issues.
Finish. What I have been saying is, the reason I was bringing their character to light, beyond the empty rhetoric, they can show nothing about the gains they've come from with the streets. Apart from telling us to go for demonstrations, they cannot tell you, this is where we were in 2024. Let me finish. This is where we are in 2026. What I have been saying is, I have moved to the Orange Democratic Movement with a spectacular and sole goal. You are not looking at this. I'm the one who's coming here and showing gains. I'm saying there is a compensation, and I've said that it is not enough for a life. However, I also maintain that we have managed to consolidate gains from 2013 to 2024. When people are asking, and some of our people have to be honest.
Where is the justice? You're talking about compensation. Where is the justice?
Let me get to the justice part.
Kindly address that.
Beyond the compensation, you have seen explicitly said by the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights that criminal procedures will not be affected by any of these processes. You cannot hasten justice. I cannot hasten justice. As long as matters are in court,
If we are law-abiding citizens, which we are, and the reason I didn't want us to turn this into a drama festival, because all of us can now...
How many cases are in court, Kasmuel? How many cases are in court?
I believe all the victims of police brutality sort of have an active file in court.
I'm telling you today, and
Yes.
I'm here telling you,
Yes.
we only have 3 cases
And
in
I
court.
have a question. Wait.
No, just a moment.
So wait,
I'm telling you
that's
today.
what- That's what I'm
Because you're saying
telling
you believe.
The thing which I will not...
There are 3 cases in
now,
court.
I have a question.
Okay.
Are you the one who filed those cases?
I am aware, I'm a journalist. My
As a
role is
journalist,
to
so do you-
look
do
at
you
these
have
issues
any
and
impact
inform
on
the
the law?
masses. So I'm asking
Do you
you.
have any impact on the
No,
process?
let me ask you. Of course, I'm having an impact. We're here to discuss these issues because this is
You
a...
cannot do that with your impact of telling me there are 3 cases. When I bring up the impact that I have raised,
You're
want to
saying
rubbish
you
that.
believe, you're not even
Yes.
sure. You believe.
The thing which I'm saying is, has there been any sort of prevention by the government for constitutional and legal processes to be started? Because if the government was banning cases to be filed, then we would say there's no justice.
Let me ask
Who
you.
is in charge of filing these
Okay,
cases?
let me ask you. Very simple question.
Who should file
Let me
these
ask you a very
cases?
simple question. Tomorrow will be 2 years since June 25th,
Yes.
2024. 2 years later, only 3 cases of all the fatalities that we had. Just a moment, let me finish. We've had so many fatalities. Only 3 cases are in court. No convictions. How can you call that progress?
Who is supposed to file the cases?
No, my
Am
question
I the
is-
one? Because you cannot ask me as though, because if it were my responsibility, I've told you the gains I went to the streets for and how I have pursued them. And that's why I was saying, if we reduce this into cheap propaganda,
You're pursuing
the thing
everything,
we are
but-
supposed to be asking
you're pursuing
ourselves,
everything but justice.
How can we, now, the challenge I want to put back to you as a media house, I want you to give me a challenge today and tell me, Casmuel, these are the gaps, and see if I will not institute them tomorrow.
If
there are cases and you have those records, give me the record.
You've had-
I am
you've
a
had
private
a year,
citizen.
you've had
I'm a
1 year,
private citizen,
Casmuel.
and I am more than willing to follow up on those cases because any of these
So you're willing,
blabbermouths, I'm not
you're
willing to follow
you're
up
willing
on the
because you've been
cases.
asked to. Let me engage that gentleman. You're willing because you've been asked to. If you, you are genuine in terms of, let me just
Even you,
finish.
you're just a
Let me just
journalist.
finish.
That's why you're willing.
Casmuel,
If
let me
you
just,
have this, you are
Casmuel,
not
let me finish. Just a moment. Let me finish.
Yeah.
I'm coming to you, but let me ask you. You're talking about gains that have been made since you crossed over to government, but you're not addressing this issue of justice. But let me engage that gentleman. The gentleman in a suit.
It's okay. Thank you so much. And I'm so much worried that this political discussion, I call it political discussion, because police brutality and compensation matters is a political question. We are losing order. And I'm so much disappointed by majority of us because we are doing things to gain political mileage and to make happy our political bosses. Irrespective of the political fraction where you are coming from, today is a day to find justice and it's a day to provide a solution to the victims of police brutality, to the victims of shootings and everything in this country. I personally, as Moses, I was affected indirectly. Every year, everyone here is aware of Denzel Omondi.
Sure.
Denzel was also a student at JECWA. Today I represent those students. He was a good friend of mine. I saw Denzel 2 hours before he was abducted. We were with Denzel in the protest in Nairobi. And what I say is this, perhaps, maybe majority of us here have never seen somebody who has been killed by the police. Maybe none of their relatives has been arrested and maybe held in Communicado for several days. But I'll have to say this. When you are coming here and telling us the government has enough machinery, the taxpayers' money, and everything, what it takes to compensate the victims, we must remember, Mama Boniface is here, Mama Mburu is here, and you've heard from them themselves.
Okay.
So I'll have to say this. Moving forward, if there is any government surrogate here, I'm sorry to tell you this government will punish you more than it will at the end of the day punish us.
Okay, the gentleman.
Revolution is a time circle. And as I conclude, 1 minute only, 1 minute only.
Okay.
I'll have to say this. We are here, please, to provide a solution. Remember that we have a parent who has traveled from Malindi to Nairobi to find a solution for his son, for the son. So if you are here,
So what is the solution?
the solution is we as the people, we must make a decision for ourselves. The Constitution is very clear. There is no supreme law in the land which is greater than the sovereignty of the people. If we have made a decision that tomorrow we are going to the street, so be it. We are going to the street because it's 2 to 3 people who made a decision for this country to be liberated from the colonial chains. And it is these people who are sitting here who are going to make a decision for this country to be liberated from the annals of dictatorship. And tomorrow I encourage all Kenyans from all walks of life to go to the street and demand justice, starting with the university students we represent. Thank you so much.
The gentleman to your left and then Mlamba.
Thank you very much for this humble opportunity. First of all, I'm very discouraged. We have turned this into a political hecklership. Mama, mwanzo kabisa mimi naomba niseme pole. I was raised by a mother. Najua zile changamoto ambazo anapitia mzazi ili kuweza kulea mtoto na pia kumwelekeza kwa njia ipasavyo. To the panelists, it is not easy. All of you here, look at yourself. Leo tuko wote hapa, kila mtu tutaondoka kwenda manyumbani kwetu, lakini swali ni kwamba would you be very okay listening kwamba ama kupatiwa simu ama kupigiwa simu kupata kwamba mwenzako amefariki? Would you, mama hapa anauguza sana. And at the same point, mimi nakaa na ndugu wangu hapa namuona, nyinyi mmekaa mbali kidogo. Kidogo anatoka machozi. Baba hapa karibu anatoka machozi, mwanaume mzima kabisa anajizuia. It is very painful. We should not be here to look at, sijui nani amesema nini. Naweza nikakuepo kesho. Labda kesho inaweza nisiwepo. Lakini mmoja wetu hapa, kati yetu sisi hapa, atakuwa kiongozi. The nation needs a very sober leadership. So as we do need to be sober, young people. Tusiongee kwa sababu kamera zipo, umepewa opportunity kuongea. Kumbuka, one day, and I'll say this as Alhaji Mohammed Musa Bodle, and the generation to come will get the clip and they'll refer to it. Let us be very sober. Kwa sababu, if we're not sober as the young people, tutakapopata nafasi kwa viongozi katika nchi, we will make the same mistakes. And now mimi ninachoomba kwamba utakapopata nafasi kwa kiongozi, inaweza kuwa haitakuwa Mohammed Musa, inaweza kawa wewe, lakini the question is, will you be sober when you're making some decisions? So let us not shout, let us not, call out names, let us not be political hecklers. Let us be leaders. Let us take the mantle. Let us be in a position we can think soberly. That is what we need. And we need kwamba kesho tukipatiwa nafasi, unaweza ukasimama ukasema kwamba hili ni mbovu, hili ni nzuri, and if it is wrong, let us make a correction to that. But whatever we're seeing here is not right. So, as I conclude, kwa wazazi wengi ambao kwa nyumbani wanatazama hii, mimi naomba niseme poleni sana kwa wale wanaouguza and everything. Poleni sana, but we have to be a nation of young people who are very sober when it comes to decision making, when it comes to positions of leadership. Asanteni sana.
Okay, thank you. We'll, because of time, just a minute. And your 1 minute starts now.
Okay. I don't know if I should apologize to Kasmwel.
And I think he just walked out, he left.
I think he'll see this. This is not an apology. I'm saying, probably we often pick on him because he's the loudest. And probably because he's the most articulate and the most polished, even in this room. But perhaps he needs to do a better job with enlightening and polishing the ones that are in support of government right now. He needs to make them as eloquent and as articulate as he is, so that we have more people to attack. Because we will not keep silent when you guys are singing for the government. He needs to do a better job to mentor them. And to some of those that have spoken, that are in support of government, it is their democratic right, I understand. But I need them to explain to us, like we were Catherine Omanyo, how we, the young people, have delayed reforms, yet we are not office bearers or duty bearers. Because that was that is what they alluded. Number two, to Kasmwel, even though he's walked out, 600 days later, we've not seen you, smart Alex, and those that are supporting government, push for genuine reform. The gains that Kasmwel is praising were fought for by Edwin Sifuna, Raila Odinga the late, and so many ODM MPs, and those that are in government who pushed for the Coin 10 agenda. He was not part of that, but he keeps on joyriding on things he did not fight for. So there's someone who mentioned a committee to institute reforms. I need to remind them that we had a committee a task force that was chaired by Maraga that gave several recommendations on how to solve most of the problems we have so that we do not have an occurrence of the same issues, especially on police brutality. So we don't need to form another committee. We need to enact what they decided. We need to enact their declarations. As I wind up, we need to amend the National Police Service Act so as to mandate the wearing of body cameras for police officers. We need to amend the IPOA Act to give the IPOA binding powers so that the IPOA can now arrest and prosecute police officers. And we also need to amend the Public Order Act of 1950 so that we nullify the clause that appears to seek for permission to hold demonstrations. We should not be seeking for permission. It should be a notification. And the police should not think that they have, it is at their behest to either decide whether to grant the permission or not. It is a notification, not a request for permission. We need to make that succinct.
Okay, thank you. Charity, and then I'll hand over to Bentura.
Okay, thank you so much. I just want to touch a little bit on what did we achieve. Nimekumbuka sikujibu hiyo swali. And Kwamboka had asked, did we achieve what we wanted to achieve? No, we didn't. But did we achieve something? Definitely. We achieved political curiosity. We showed Kenyans that being involved in political matters that affect your country is important. Right now, finance bill ikitoka hivi, scroll 2 videos. The third one, it's someone explaining an article in the finance bill. People can now read the finance bill and interpret it. That's something we achieved. We activated Article 1 in the Constitution, which says the people shall. We did that, mandatory. We activated Article 37 and showed Kenyans it is possible to picket. It is possible to show up. But again, the government ikatoa party peaceably. And I also want us to correct our terminologies. When we talk about the people we lost, those people didn't lose their lives. They were brutally murdered by a reckless, thoughtless government. I've heard someone here say that if you want to commemorate them, so you go to the families. We are going to the streets because that's where they were killed. Rex was not shot kwa nyumba ya mama yake. Alishutiwa kwa streets. That's where we are going there.
Okay.
Let's not lose sense of that. And again, you can't kill us and lead us. It is always said that the legitimacy of a government is known by how it protects its citizens. You cannot protect us. Please go home. Thank you so much.
And maybe to put this question on our audience tonight, as we wrap up the discussion tonight, what did the death of the Kenyans that we lost, over 50 Kenyans that we lost, mean for this country moving forward? In no particular order, we can go with the gentleman on the far right.
And kindly be brief because of time.
What the death of our friends meant and what it means
for this country moving forward.
It means that we're tired of not being heard. The third revolution, as we are calling it now, is economic revolution. We're not fighting to be free from a colony. We want to be free from policies that are not taking care of us. And that is the reason why most people died. Most people went to the streets because it was not okay. So what it means that now we know where the problems are. And I wish we can have a conversation on how can we address these problems moving forward. But now, because we do not have time, what the death of the 51 people, it's not even 51, it's beyond 51 people. It means that we are ready to change, and we will not cower until we get the change that we know we deserve. For example, what I am doing now, I'm from Kiambu County. I began by introducing myself as I'm a founder of a foundation called Nia Yetu. And what we are doing now, we have been able to achieve so far, as an NGO run by young people, we've been able to partner with Kamwangi Law Courts to fight gender-based violence. So I wanted to respond to what Kasmuel is saying. I'm not in government, but I am able to help very many young ladies in Kamwangi get justice And we've actually partnered, and once you report on the platform, on the niaitu.co.ke platform, we're able to follow up with the DPP, who has been able to tell us that they will even actually offer free services to people who have been who have undergone sexual and gender-based violence. And so far we've had 8 convictions. We are looking to have many more, and even more that we are doing now is we are educating the community on the just one minute as I conclude. As I conclude, please. As I conclude.
Maybe we can have a mic.
As I conclude, because that is what you're saying. What the 51 means. And it means that we want to change. And what can we here do? What can we do? Because I know you guys. You're in political spaces and political parties. You're not totally helpless. This gentleman here is not in government and he's working with many people. It means that we want to help. We want to help. And even if the government will not help, we will come and use our resources.
All right, thank you so much.
To help.
Let's proceed.
That's what it means.
In 30 seconds.
Just a second.
All right.
As you address all that, because we're running out of time, what is the end game?
First and foremost, I'd like to advise my brothers that leadership needs emotional control. So let us not be like our brother. And I want to state that tomorrow is not just an ordinary day. June 25th is not an ordinary day in the calendar of Kenyans. This is a day that we remember the soldiers that fought and died just because of demanding justice, good accountability, demanding good leadership, and we lost our brothers and sisters in an unfair way. And I want to tell my fellow youths and Gen Zs, I want to tell you that the same way we will celebrate Jomo Kenyatta, the same way we'll celebrate Dedan Kimathi, the same way we are going to celebrate Raila Amolo Odinga, it's the same way we are going to celebrate the 127 lives lost during the Gen Z's protest. And finally, I want to advise my fellow Gen Zs. I want to tell them that it is now time that we look for a leader, and it is time that we look for a political vehicle, because a mission without a leader, it's like an aeroplane without a pilot. And I personally will be vying for Member of Parliament come 2027, and I hope my fellow youths will go for those seats, because they cannot implement what we want. Thank you.
Okay, I want to be fair, because I've fairly given guys who are supporting or against the government to say something. Elisha, 30 seconds.
Okay, thank you once more. I think she has asked a clear question. What has these 50 deaths has brought to Kenya? I think it is high time that we as youths, we need to start thinking on how we can amend our constitution. We need to strengthen our constitution. We need to strengthen institutions to fight these injustices that we are seeing in this nation. Thank you.
In 30 seconds.
Okay, 30 seconds.
The deaths in June 25th have demonstrated to us the power and cost of democracy. Respecting both opposition and those who support the government, let us be able to come up to a discussion on how we can move forward, soldier on, and achieve accountability through reforms that are taking place and those that are supposed to take place. And finally, I take this moment to send my sincere apologies and empathies to the parents who have lost, and may God comfort you in this difficult moment.
Okay, the gentleman in a seat.
Okay, thank you.
Briefly.
I'll say this. During Moi's era, when our heroes were fighting for multi-party, they said you can't cut a mugumo tree with a razor blade. We are here as the young people. Most of the times we are not believed in, but we are going to fight and soldier on in this quest. And what we are supposed to do as young people, we are supposed to choose leaders who are speaking about the economy of the country. Most of these leaders are not speaking on the direction of economy of this country. And I, as I speak on behalf of Safina Party, our party leader, Jim Wanjigi, is very clear on the problems that we are facing in this country, and we are going to soldier on in this quest until we get our liberation.
Fair.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, and then you.
Thank you for this opportunity. First, I want to say this. The death of the 51 people that we lost.
At least 65.
65.
Kindly stand. 30 seconds.
Guys, this is not the first time that we are losing lives. After election 2022, Raila went to the streets and we lost lives. What we need to understand is that any political disagreement in this country should not be leading to any lives lost. That's what we need to understand. And we also need to understand that this government, not even this, all the government that have been in place have been unable to tackle demos, whether political or the organic demos that we held in 2024. Thank you very much.
Well, before that, maybe we can balance it a bit. We can give the lady over here to give us their last comment on that before we get to you, and then we get to Maxwell.
Okay. The death of these people has shown us that life is priceless, and even if you are to do compensation, it won't bring back their life. However, compensation must go hand in hand with justice. There is no either or. Lastly, and if we are to move forward, the government must respect and uphold the dictates of Article 37 of the Constitution. That is all that I think is enough. Just uphold Article 37 of the Constitution, and that is our view even as the National Liberal Party. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you. The gentleman here.
All right. Thank you. I think to say that the deaths of these people should remind us, regardless.
Kindly stand.
It should remind us, regardless, whether you support the government or you don't support the government. We are on our own. We are on our own. There is, I didn't even see any politician who was shot, right? Who was killed. They tried to abduct the children of some politicians. They went for them, and they're safe. All of us here at one point, sorry to hear about Denzel. Denzel, we used to live together like in the same area. And even the uncle died like a month ago. You know about that? It is something that is sad. So we are on our own. Let us embrace each other, regardless ukuja na suti, kuja na nini, because we know all this kind of whatever it is. So please,
okay,
all these people are your sisters and you are our brothers. In case kama una support the government, afadhali, we are on our own.
Okay, let's do this. The lady behind the Safina party fella, and then we talk to Maxwell.
Okay, my 2 cents on everything is that the young people who lost their lives were fighting for a similar cause, and they are not people who should be forgotten. Okay. The reason as to why we are going to march tomorrow is to remember them, and we are fighting for a more just, a more fair, and a more governable, a more respectable government. Okay. To these people, to the Gen Zs, to our parents back at home, because they look at us and say, my daughter is fighting for me. Actually, when I'm here today, my mother told me, just take care of yourself. And when a parent tells you that, and another parent seated over there says that, ati sidhani kama nitapata justice, that's a very painful thing to hear coming from a parent. So as we stand here today, let us all remember those who lost their lives, the victims of 2024, 2025, and that Kenya is not lost. Kenya belongs to us, and we will protect it in all ways possible.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, let's hear from the victims.
Well, we can hear from Maxwell. Labda unaweza kuwa na wasia gani, especially kesho ama wakati Gen Z wanaenda kwenda kwa streets ku commemorate the June 2024.
And also, even as you address that, just stand. We didn't really expound on what happened. What exactly happened to you?
Ilikuwa date 25th June, Justice for Alberto Jong. Ilikuwa hapo street, hata ilikuwa peaceful sana. Ilikuwa peaceful sana. Tukijua kama kitu kama inaweza fanyika all over Sunday. Polisi anatoka from nowhere anaturushia tu tear gas. Na hata kuna kitu nyumembeba kwa mkono. Sidhani kama ni haki hiyo. Yeah.
Na labda uliumia pande gani?
Mimi niliumia archives.
Sehemu gani ya mwili?
Mkono.
Na labda unaweza ambia Gen Z wenye wanaenda kesho maandamano, unaweza waambia, what advice would you give them?
Ni uchungu sana kupoteza yutu mwenzako. Saa sizi mpe advice ati asitokeleze nje, lazima tuwakumbuke. Yeah.
Okay.
Asante sana. Hata justice wengine bado hajapata. Sasa tukisema
Sawa. Shukran. Before we speak with Ocheng from kituo cha sheria, Mama Ibrahim, labda tu as we wind up the show, wewe ungesema vipi? Because miaka miwili umesema, you know, you've not really seen any progress in terms of justice, but hata kwa mahakama wewe ungesema vipi?
Okay, mimi ningependa kusema hivi. Hii kwanza inafaa ianze na president wetu, sababu yeye ndiye amefanya watu wasipate justice. Mimi nikiona wale polisi wote, stations zile, vituo zote za polisi zile zilikuja town zinajulikana ni gani. So walikuwa rahisi kujua ni polisi gani wenye walishuta watoto. So hapo ndo tungeanza kupata justice. Kitu ya kwanza, kama hawajui, OCS wa kila kituo angeshikwa apelekwe kotini, sababu anajua ni bunduki gani yenye ziliua watoto, na sababu hao wenyewe polisi ndio walitoa hizo bullet kwa mwili za watoto, wakifanya postmortem kupatikana nazo. So wanajua ni polisi mgani aliangusha bullet zake akurudisha zikiwa zote. Kitu kingine ningependa kusema, haki inafaa itendeke kwa hii Kenya yetu, sababu isipotendeka the same police officer, kesho tunaenda town na tunaenda peaceful demonstration. Kama wale polisi wa kwanza hawakushikwa, wale wa kwanza 2024, 2025, sasa tuko 2026, kila mwaka wanaua. Asiposhikwa apelekwe kotini, wataendelea tu kutuua. So hata kesho wasikuje kuua mwingine, juu itakuwa tena meua 2025, itakuwa ni kama ile ya finance bill tena. So sisi tunawaomba kesho, sisi tukiwa maandamano, tutatokea kesho kama wazazi, Gen Z, tutakuja na tutakuja tu na bendera na simu na maji. Sisi tungeomba tu amani, na pia polisi ni vizuri watu escort mpaka pale sisi tunaenda. Tukimaliza tunarudi nyumbani na amani. Hiyo tu kwa leo.
Sawa, labda Mburu na
Okay. Chenye ningesema about maandamano ya kesho is that mkikumbuka hizi political parties ama watu wenye wako political, msikubali watugawanishe. Wenye watubeba watutumia. You get yourself uko Jubilee, uko wapi, unachukia mwenzako. But at the end of the day, huyo ndio neighbor yako. Take good care of each other. Tuwekeni vitu zingine aside. Hii ni wave tu. It will go. Lakini itaenda aje? Itaacha nini kwa roho zetu? Do you get me? So kesho tukue peaceful. Tuende tu community, tukumbuka kina nani Rex. Na tuwe peaceful. Time yetu ikiisha, we just go. That's all. Brad yenyewe mwagika ni mob. Na wacha nikwambie, you see the way me disappoint sana the way you are arguing. Wajua kuna Uswahili wanasemanga aje? Mshahara ni mtamu kwa nguruwe. Lakini kama umekuingia wewe, hauwezi feel. That's a fact, hauwezi feel. That's why you are shouting hapa, you know nothing. Hamjui nini tunapitia. Unaelewa? Next time in a national television, behavini. Jueni sasa we are sitting on Rex blood. Umepata hizo political parties, mmekuwa mna represent the youth juu ya wao. Respect them in what manner. So, that's all.
Thank you. Very powerful views from Mburu. Briefly tafadhali, and then tumalizie hapa.
Thank you. For me, I will address the president, the panel led by Macau, the human rights, and IPOA. I want to remind them that they are just getting to see the life these people are living, or the life we are living, but we are getting to live it. So I want to tell them that there is no justice, there is no fair compensation without us, because for them they are not experiencing this. It's us who are experiencing. And I want to appeal to Mulcomen to allow our children to mourn their friends their comrades. It's not easy for them to forget them. And all those, and they should actually protect them. We have had enough, and we are going to accompany our children, not because we are enjoying what we are going through, but because now we are feeling it is very vibrant in us because we have gone through hell. And we want to remind them, other than maiming our children, killing our children, they have also affected us in a very heavy way. They have grounded me for 1 year. I'm a single mother. I'm the chief provider of my home. But for 1 year, I've not worked. I've not made anything. And I also lost my job. I cannot go back to my work because I have to stay with my son. My son cannot be alone. He has to have somebody 24/7. Even if I go out, even to the market, my son cannot take shower. Why? Not because I'm coming back to bathe him, but because we fear that he can take shower and he's walking in those crutches and maybe slide in the bathroom. So there must be somebody in the house. So you can imagine a chief provider of the house, of the home, being grounded for 1 year.
Okay.
I don't understand what they are thinking. Thank you.
Pole sana. Labda tu kabla experts, Mama Kennedy, seconds tu. Muda umetupa kisogo. Kama ndio paza sauti hapo.
Okay, mimi ningeomba serikali, ombi langu la mwisho, saa zingine hata kama naongeanga uongo, kuna vitu serious hafai kuongea uongo. Ufai kumwambia mama mwenye amepoteza eti utamuita na hujamuita 2 years inaenda. So kuna vitu zingine aniite tu hivi tuongee, at least kwa uongo kwa wananchi watasema nimepewa kitu lakini hakuna kitu amenipea, ameniambia pole. Itaonekana at least amefanya kitu ya maana kuliko kuita watu wanadance huko anawalipa na wanatoka. Lakini pia chenye namwambia, mtoto wangu alikuwa ameendea kitabu na akawawa. Ni mdogo, ni grade 8. Hiyo nguo amevaa, hiyo ni uniform yao ya shule. Hiyo nguo ya red na tie, hizo ni uniforms. So ningeomba kesho atuache tufanye makumbusho. Niliomba huko nyuma, nilisema angekuwa mwenye hataki hiyo maandamano, angetuita State House, hatufanyie hiyo makumbusho huko. Ndio kama angekuwa nataka hiyo amani. Lakini ni vile nataka kutuma magoons wakuje wakutufuruga, waseme watu wa maandamano walifanya, ndio maana hataki kutuita. So atuache tufanye makumbusho, at least ni amani kwetu.
Okay. Finally, to the representative from Kituo cha Sheria, Mr. Morara and Nelius, I mean it kindly, what is the end game here?
Thank you. The end game, maybe just to answer what Kwamboka had asked, what the deaths mean. The deaths mean that we now live in a country where, especially if you're not part of the political class, your life can disappear just like that. Especially, first of all, if you are young, you're a target already. Tomorrow, people will be in the streets, and I know in my capacity personally as an advocate, najua kesho naenda kupata masimu ya watu wenye huko, we are supposed to go help. To your question, the end game, corruption is a very big demon in this country, and we are seated here as young people. Somebody here mentioned that we will one day form part of the leadership at various levels of government, national, county, whichever. For me, I'm looking at an end game where we really need to be the people who will make a difference. We need to be people who have character. Mimi, this whole thing, this whole demon I'm seeing in the country is an issue of character. The greed for money, the greed of corruption, and lacking integrity. So once we have those values set, I believe we will be good to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Morara. 1 minute, kindly.
Just to add to what the colleagues have said, to me, this death just means that the culture of impunity continues. It just adds to the list of the long list that we have of the Kenyans who have lost their lives. The statistics is sobering and worrying. You were talking about the 60 who lost their lives during Gen Z, but the available statistics from 2017 to 2026, over 1,200 Kenyans have lost their lives to political violence or to gang-related violence. So again, the sanctity of life needs to mean something in this country. Our constitution needs to mean something. Article 26, let's protect lives. Let us actually defend the lives, because the lives of Kenyans do matter, the lives of Gen Zs matter.
Okay.
Finally, I think for me, I just want to reiterate what some of the victims and survivors have said. Tomorrow, let's not call them protests, then we give them a bad name and a pretext for the police to come in and just break them. One of the frameworks in the reparations framework was memorialization, which means form of remembrance, and also tomorrow is a day for remembrance. Those ones who are coming out to remember, let them be allowed that space. We as Amnesty International, the Police Reforms Working Group, have already made this call to the police and everybody else.
Okay.
If there is a memorial that's taking place and people want to come out there and remember the people who lost their lives, please do not deny them that right as spelled out in Article 37 of our Katiba.
Thank you. Nelis.
Thank you, Ian. On my part, there are three things that I would say should be endgame. The first thing is the government needs to issue a formal apology to the survivors and victims of the police brutality and the excessive use of force. And two, the second thing is that all police officers who were the perpetrators of this violence need to be charged, prosecuted, and convicted, and so that the families can finally have closure that action was taken. And the third thing is that the police need to act in accordance to their mandate under Article 244, which says that they have to respect and promote human rights. And there are even enough court decisions that they should not use tear gas, live bullets, or water cannons when the protest, demonstrations, assembly, and whatever picketing is happening. And therefore the police needs to respect this and uphold the law, respect the constitution, respect human life and human rights.
Okay, thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much. And this has been a very fruitful discussion that we've had tonight. Many thanks for our audience for coming and making this particular show very productive and very successful. And without wasting much of the time, I would request all of us to stand for 1 minute, to observe 1 minute of silence on behalf of the fallen heroes.
Well, pretty much the images you're also seeing on your screen was, of course, of today's edition of Kenya's Bold newspaper, The Standard.